welcome back to the Two is Better Than One podcast featuring
Rachel Crawford
and Zara Crawford. We are back. We had a little break, obviously, with Christmas and everything. So how was your Christmas? Obviously, I was there, but do you want to tell everyone about it?
Oh, yes, it was lovely. So we had Christmas at home and all you guys around with the kids and had a nice Christmas lunch. And
Yeah, super laid back. I think everyone's was.
Yeah, everyone wanted to kick back and de-stress. Yeah.
With the climate of this year, a lot of people couldn't see family and stuff, which was
A bit sad. People can't travel.
yeah.
We actually got out of the state for a couple of days, which was good.
Yes.
And there was
lovely.
no issues with restrictions or anything. And got back and yeah.
Yeah.
So lucky us.
Lucky day by day at the moment. Like, I can't keep track of it. It's just like one thing after the next. Anyway, like, let's talk about then your year in 2020. Let's do a recap.
Oh, a
I reckon
recap.
that'd be good. You can tell, guys, that we've totally planned this podcast today. We're just like, we'll just talk.
No
like,
notes, no nothing, no. Let's just hit record.
Yeah. Because that's what it's all about anyway. Just
Well, you
Bring it
recap
out,
your 2020.
Well, highlight for me obviously was starting my new job. So that was all the way back in January when the world was normal, pretty much. So that's been the highlight for me. It's been a huge learning curve going from the fitness industry into the healthcare sector. So different. Obviously, fitness industry doesn't have as much regulations and stuff to follow and things like that. And even my role in general is just way more in-depth than anything I've ever done before. But I'm using my degree.
Yay!
So, thank goodness.
All that time and effort and money.
Yeah,
and you're not a glorified personal trainer.
No, thank goodness. Unlike a lot of my peers, unfortunately, that they end up with this exercise and sports science degree and then go into just like something that asserts
Maybe they work in reception at the gym.
Yeah, you know.
Unfortunately.
Yeah.
Oh.
It's just the market. Like, it's just, I'm so incredibly lucky to have fallen into this position.
Yeah.
Like, it just magically appeared. It
came up for you.
Yeah.
Like, there's not many positions out there for your degree, and to be able to still work locally in the area where you
exactly, because
close
it was
to where you live.
Yeah, it was getting to a point where I was like, if I want to be using my degree, I might have to like move to a city, like, to do that. But nope, don't have to anymore. It's fantastic, and I love it. I love where I work. I love everyone there. Like, I love the clients. They're all so lovely. It's the best. It's the best. Yeah. What else happened for me this year? Had plans to travel. That didn't happen. So now it's just like saving for the next big thing.
Yeah. So what's your next big thing and your plans for 2021?
For me, that's saving this year. If we can, like, my partner and I, Jake, would love to travel, but it's just, you just don't know. So we're thinking more forward now and like looking at buying a house and stuff like that. And we're both very health conscious this year. I feel like we're on a big health swing, as many of us are, January. So
we're going to talk about that. Yeah.
But a lot of our future plans that involve doing, like, being healthier, you know, like, but we'll talk about that in a little bit. And in terms of career-wise, I'm just, I'm looking forward to pushing my limit of like what I'm capable of in my role, sort of thing. Really going above and beyond to like prove it to myself that I can do it.
Yeah.
So trying to get as many clients in, seeing health outcomes, like all that sort of stuff.
And you've got some new developments happening at your work, which people might be interested in knowing what's going on at Owens.
Oh, yeah. So we're looking at doing an extension to the current wellbeing centre that I'm operating. And it's a hydrotherapy pool, and further like extensions, hopefully more staff and more space. So yeah, it's like it's all happening at my work. It's madness. It's absolute madness. But it's all good things, and hopefully we can make some real change in community through that hydrotherapy, because it's like, how do you get access to that unless you're paying out a massive fee for service sort of thing? But we'll be able to provide it for our clients, for OHM's clients, for absolutely nothing, which is just unreal.
Exciting.
Yeah, that's what I love about my job, is like I don't have to worry about the finance side. I don't have to worry about sales, unlike my last job being manager at F45. I can just worry about getting outcomes for the client, because that's all that matters, you know? Like, and
how good is that?
Yes, that's exactly what I wanted to do, is just have that focus. I do love the sales side. I love the marketing side. I still get to do a little bit of it, but it is mostly about getting the health outcomes, you know,
for the clients.
Yeah. Which it is for you too. I'm not saying that it isn't.
Oh, yeah, it is. But in the personal training industry, or particularly one-on-one personal training, not everyone needs a client forever. So they come in, they may, start their journey in fitness, and a PT is the best way to do it, because then you learn everything you need to learn, and hopefully you'll go on from there. And some people aren't successful with sticking it out, and other people are with me I've had people for 10, 11 years.
Yeah.
So when I do lose a client for whatever reason, I've got to find another client. So that means sales and marketing and all of that kind of stuff. So the pressure to keep my numbers up is still there. I've been in the industry long enough now, though, that I do get a lot of word of mouth, and people are still coming, and like the leads are still coming, and it's not that difficult to get new people through the door.
Yeah.
But I still put the pressure on myself to keep doing it, and I suppose I have to, because the numbers could just drop off until I don't have enough clients to get a full-time wage.
Yeah.
And it took a long time, and anyone else that's out there in the industry knows how hard it is to build that client base to the point where you are making a full-time wage by training people.
Yeah.
I mean, a lot of other PTs, they're in a gym situation where they're also teaching group fitness, they're working reception, they're doing the cleaning and maintenance, and they might be helping out with the bookwork and things like that. So they've got that additional income, but when all you do is PT, that's a bit of a tougher gig.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. Yeah. But it's about perseverance, getting through that hard bit, but it's also about making sure you're getting outcomes for your client, just like in my role. Because if you're not, then that word of mouth,
it's not there.
Yeah. So that's where...
Because a push-up is a push-up. It's getting those results for those clients.
Absolutely.
And sometimes it's getting results that they didn't even know they wanted or needed, because they come in with the totally wrong mindset of how they might be... someone who's about 165, 170 centimetres tall, who weighs about 64 kilos maybe, they come into me and they say, I want to lose 6 kilos. And I look at them and I go, you're in the healthy weight range, and that work to be able to change their mindset, where they're thinking about their wellness and their body composition in the way of how much muscle mass they have to keep themselves healthy and strong and mobile, and warding off osteoporosis and those kind of things, rather than worrying about, you've just been through menopause or you're perimenopause, and you've put on a couple of kilos and you've gone from 59 to 64. So that is tough, but it's doable, and once, that's the exciting bit, where you see that light bulb moment in the clients.
Oh, yes, that's the moment I live for in my job. Absolutely.
Yeah, even with the ones that do need to lose lots and lots of weight, like say maybe they need to lose 20 or 30 kilos, you educate them to the point where you know that they're doing exercise not for the weight loss, but for their health.
Yeah.
Because, you can be overweight and you can be mobile, you might have good flexibility, you've got good cardio fitness, you've got good muscle mass, but you're overweight, you're carrying too much body fat, which means that affects your health.
Yeah. Yeah.
So you've got to focus on that health first and the rest will come.
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely. And like, it's trainers that don't understand that don't survive.
Yeah.
In this
they
industry.
give their clients not realistic expectations.
Yeah.
Where they say, we're going to drop you down to a size 12. Or, instead of focusing on, we're going to try and get you off your blood pressure medication. Or,
yeah, absolutely. Yeah. So, I can hear a car in the background. Hello, car. Well, that's another thing too, when you were talking about your drop-off rate and how important it is for you to keep it up, is that this year, last year now, 2020, you had a bit of a drop-off, obviously, because of COVID.
Yeah, so what happened with me with COVID? So it came along March, the gyms shut down. And me being a PT and I was working from home, I wasn't allowed to work inside. I could still do one-on-ones, but they had to be outside. And so that's what I did. I took my clients underneath my carport and we trained through those freezing cold months here in Orange outside. That my clients were troopers, the ones that did actually stick with me.
Yeah.
I lost about 50% of my clients due to them losing their jobs. So they couldn't, because PT is a luxury. So, they couldn't afford that luxury of spending that additional money on personal training when they, had just lost their jobs and they've got to find money to buy groceries.
Yeah, of course.
And then I also lost clients because they weren't prepared to train outside in the colder weather. I lost clients because they had autoimmune issues and things like that. So they weren't going out of the house at all through lockdown.
Yeah, worried about their health in terms of catching it.
Yeah, even though the government were supporting the idea of keep on exercising, keep going with your exercise. It's so important because we need to stay healthy in case we do get the virus.
Yes, yeah. So I've actually read some stats about particularly obesity and COVID, and you can fact check me. This is just stuff that I've read online. But there's some studies that are going and saying that the likelihood of you getting severely sick if you are obese is around 90% if you do catch it. So the severity of it increases the more unhealthy you are, which of course it does. It's like any other sickness. If your body's already under-conditioned, and you already have a weak immune system, then of course something like COVID's going to affect you way more.
Yeah.
It was just interesting how, and we won't talk about COVID this whole thing, I promise, but it's just interesting in the sense that, I don't know if the government supported well-being and health jobs in the sense of, exercise, people employed in those roles enough.
Oh, not at all. But you could understand the pressure they were in overall, and they had to shut the gyms because you could imagine that sharing equipment in a gym facility, it's just you're asking for spreading.
Yeah.
So, but in saying that, there was not much support anywhere through the system. I know Fitness Australia were doing some back-end stuff, trying to get the gyms reopened, trying to show that it is safe to go back to the gym, trying to portray that image of it is okay, you're fine to come back, we're going to look after you, it's a safe, clean space, which was a very hard job.
Yeah, that would have been a huge tackle. Even, I know ESSO as well did lots for that too, in terms of, even just telehealth and making it available for, EPs, exercise physiologists, to even make claims through telehealth. That wasn't a thing until COVID.
I didn't know that.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. So now they don't have to see each other in person for like
You
know,
can still do that through Medicare. And
yeah. So private practices could still survive and still help their clients.
Yeah,
you
that's
know?
good.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. So that happened in March, and then I moved into the PCYC in June.
Yeah, that was
when
a
we
big
reopened.
thing.
It was massive.
That was a big decision on your behalf. Like,
I know. I was a bit of a mess after, because I lost my mum earlier in the year. That was the 3rd of March. And then with the shutdown, and then with having to readjust to training outside and trying to maintain the clients that I did manage to hold on to. And then I didn't know what I was going to do, how I was going to get my business up and running again. I rang a business coach, Justin Tambert. Sorry if I've got your name wrong. Not that you probably won't be listening to this.
Now I'm going to share it straight to him and be like...
He gave me, actually, he didn't even charge me or anything. Free advice. He's Active Management is his business, and he has a fantastic Facebook group which has brilliant people in there and very helpful advice that you can get from these Facebook groups, and he's got one that's just great. He also has his own podcast, and he said to me, Rachel, I told him the situation where I was at, and he said, Rachel, it's time for you to move into a gym. And I was scared out of my wits, but you know, if you don't take these risks,
Where's the reward?
Know?
Yeah.
You just don't know. I'd been working out of my shed for 11 years. I was quite comfortable doing that, and the thought of paying rent just scared me a little bit. But it was the best move I ever did. And now I'm looking at hopefully scaling a little bit more and taking on maybe a couple more trainers so I can work less hours myself. Yes. And maybe work, 8 to 10 hour days instead of 14-hour days.
I think that's a reasonable request. Especially because your job is so physical that, they're long days.
They are long days. Yeah, and it's really hard to keep my own training up. The first thing that he said to me when I rang him, he said, are you training yourself? That was the first question he asked me.
Wow.
Are you exercising, Rachel? And I said, yes, I am. Not as much as what I should be, but yes, I am. He's good.
Wow.
You've got to look after yourself first,
Yeah.
and then your business comes second, because you are your business.
Yeah, that's right.
If you don't look after your own health and wellness, you don't have a business.
Yeah, then exactly. Who's looking after the business? Exactly.
Yeah. And then he went on to give me some great advice. So.
Wow. Okay, shout out to Justin.
Yeah.
Go follow him and stuff. Yeah.
I said to him, thank you so much for your advice. How can I help you? And he said, I don't need anything from you. You can put something up on the group if you want. But that's great.
Yeah. No, well, this is an official shout out then. That's awesome. That's so interesting he asked you about your exercise though. Such a valid point. And that comes with any principle of life in general, doesn't it? Just if you don't take care of your own health, how can you take care of your family if you fall apart and all this sort of stuff?
Exactly.
Yeah. Oh, yes. So, thank gosh, it's over though.
So, yeah.
2020. Whew. Did anything else happen for you in terms of, what about your own health journey from last year? It would have been...
Yeah, so I haven't been the best health-wise. Not as far as my body has been pretty strong, and my cardio fitness and my strength I've been keeping all that up. But I have been suffering from migraines since the October long weekend, and I'm still in the process of trying to figure out and what's going on there, just kind of ticking the boxes. But I've spoken to so many women my age who also struggle with migraines, and it's pretty much hormonally driven.
Yeah.
We put it down to. But what can you do?
That's it.
Yeah, it's tricky.
It's just about trying to manage it as best you can, I feel like.
Yeah.
Like, it's the type of thing that'll just probably never go away.
Yeah.
So it's just, how do you manage
How
it?
do you live with it?
Yeah.
I've given up alcohol altogether. That was pretty tough for me because I really do like a glass of wine.
Yeah.
But even New Year's, no alcohol. Over
Yep.
Christmas, no alcohol. Yeah, so that was pretty tough. But I'm going to continue with that, and I'm going to, if I can get 3 months migraine free without any headache migraine coming on, then I may think about putting in a social glass of wine every now and then and see how that goes.
Yeah. And then,
Until
then you'll know if they're directly linked
yes,
as well.
it doesn't help though.
No. No, yeah, I know, yeah. I suffer from migraines too, and I get them pretty bad, but...
Yours are worse than mine, but mine are prolonged. So I'll get a migraine and then I'll have a headache for 4 or 5 days, and then it may ease, and I may have 1 day or 2 days where I'm feeling quite good, and then I'll get another one.
Yeah.
So the longest I've had with no headache, residual headache or migraine, since October is 4 days. That's the only break that I've had.
Yeah.
Yesterday and
Which-
today have been good. Fingers crossed.
Yes, let's keep it going. Oh my gosh, yeah, no. I have, well, I've had migraines for, I feel like, forever.
Since
And
I think you were 12 when you first had your first one,
yeah.
and I took you to the hospital.
I do
didn't
remember
know.
that.
Do you remember that? I didn't
do.
know what was happening, and you were hyperventilating. And because you were breathing so deeply, your extremities went tingly, and you were like, I can't feel my face. I can't feel my hands.
Yeah. How stressful for you.
I started freaking out.
Oh, God.
And the nurse is looking at me, and I'm like, I can't handle this, because normally it's your father who takes all the kids, used to take the kids to the hospital because I didn't deal very well with it.
Fair enough.
Terrible mother.
Oh my God, I would have been the same. I would have been the same. I feel so terrible for whenever I have one in front of people, because I'm completely reliant on them to help me, because there's nothing I can really do, like, unless I just write it out. Like, if I am by myself, I just have to, you know, do the best that I can in the time, and then wait until someone...
Can help you.
Yeah.
Yeah, so horrible.
Yeah, they're not great. So shout out to anyone out there.
And there's
that
so
gets
many
migraines.
people. We feel you.
Yeah. And there's so many different causes from it. Like, that's why it takes so long to figure out what the go is, like what exactly it's linked to, because it could be anything.
Yeah.
Like
I've had them for years as well. Since I was 24 was when I first got my first migraine. And I went to every, holistic healer, even every medical professional, neurologist, did every test under the sun, and nothing.
Yeah.
Nothing. No one could tell me why.
No. And it might be that because you've had them so long, that the reason has changed.
Definitely.
In your body. Because our bodies change. And
yeah.
Yeah. Our habits change, including exercise and food and all that sort of stuff. Yeah, I'm amazed.
Because I'm a lot more knowledgeable about wellness now, and I can try and do the right things for myself, not eat bad food and fuel my body with really good nutrients. Don't drink alcohol, stay hydrated, sleep well. Just do all those things that I preach all the time. Do it for myself.
Yes.
Focus on that. And that's pretty much all I can do. Yeah. And then just keep ticking those boxes. Like, I had my neck x-rayed, not to say that it could have been that, but it wasn't that, so that was just another box that I ticked
off. Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah, process of elimination with that sort of thing.
Had bloods done to see if I was deficient in anything in particular, and I'm not. It did show that I did have a slightly elevated inflammation in my body, but I think that comes with being perimenopausal as well, because you just do get those aches and pains at my age where you just do have inflammation and, you know, your estrogen level's lower, you don't have, your receptors aren't working properly in your joints and you get that inflammation, and that's what, it's aging, unfortunately. It's crap.
Yeah.
Don't get old, Sarah.
Okay. Note to self, don't do that. Okay, cool. Well, that's what I'm constantly thinking about in the back of my head is like, I've got to do stuff now while I'm still young and healthy and everything, and just try to keep these habits and everything going, because if I don't and they drop off, then what's going to be the long-term effect of that? Like, obviously that's in the role that I am in, constantly, always what I'm thinking about, because I'm thinking about that for others as well. Like, and it's never too late also. It's never too early, never too late. You can always just
start.
Yeah. It doesn't matter where you're at, where your fitness journey is at. It's just great to get started, which sort of leads into New Year's resolutions.
Yes.
So hopefully a few of you have started your health kick journey, because I know like everyone loves a fresh start. So that's why New Year's always goes so well as a Kickstarter sort of thing. So obviously for you, that would be figuring out your migraines. Do you have anything else?
My number one thing is just keeping on working for my health. I'd like to lose a few kilos, but that will definitely happen as well. I'm doing this sugar detox with a few of my clients as well. I don't eat a lot of added sugar, but I will eat the odd muesli bar, things like that, so anything that's in a packet has usually got added sugar in it.
Oh, yeah. Most
so
definitely.
I'm going to really clean it out, like get rid of all of that and just have a very whole food diet for 10 days.
Yep.
And keep on that nice healthy eating, keep my exercise going. And that's kind of where I'm going to work with that. And as far as any other goals per se, I don't really like New Year's resolutions as such. Because people say, I want to lose weight, I want to save money, I want to do this or that and the other thing. And that's where they leave it. They don't.
Yeah, they express the wants, but then how are you actually doing that? Yeah.
So I like setting New Year's goals instead.
Yeah. Because we can all say, oh, I'd like to be a little healthier. Like, okay, what does that mean though? Like, what does that mean to you, for starters, being a little healthier? And then, like, break that down. That's too big. Like, people start too big. Which, if your goal is weight loss, you should listen to our other podcast. I can't remember the number. But we talk about how to break down your goals and everything in that podcast as well. I'm pretty sure.
Yeah, we talked about goal setting.
Yeah. And how to start off like smaller, work your way up sort of thing. Well, for me, I want to walk a mountain or a few. Okay, just for a whole month. Okay, so let me break this down. I'm planning on doing a month-long hike over in the States if I can get there. It's a bit crazy over there at the moment, so we'll just see how that goes. But I'd love to do, it's called the Colorado Trail, where for a whole month you're pretty much walking up mountains. Like, there's a few stops in between where you're staying at towns and stuff, but for the most part you'll be camping and hiking for the whole month. So I've started training for that. Lots of walking, like, eating healthy for me is not that hard either. Like, I don't eat lots of packaged stuff either. So that side's fine for me, but it's just the exercise side, trying to make sure I'm focusing on my posture while I'm walking and things like that. And then, for me, it's mostly just trying to get as many clients through the door as possible for OHMs and trying to get them health outcomes. So, like, which also is a big one. But I've got my little steps in there. I don't want to bore the listeners with all that stuff. I think we should wrap it up.
Sure.
Unless you got something else you wanted to mention.
No, not really.
Oh, I should mention I read The Barefoot Investor. Finally. And so my goals to also, obviously we talked about it before, but that's what inspired me to get that under control is that book. So I would recommend everyone go listen or read that book. It's an easy read too. It's nothing too intense. And then after doing that, you should go and listen to our other podcast with Emma as well. So, because that was really good. They went hand in hand really well together. So I would suggest, if you do have any New Year's resolutions, to go and talk to someone who actually knows how you could achieve those goals. You know?
Yeah, go source out some professionals.
Yeah.
Because why try and figure it out yourself when you could pay someone? You could spend hours and hours trawling on the internet, going through all this stuff, trying to figure out how you're going to save or how you're going to get fit, or you could just go and see a professional.
Yeah. Yeah.
And they're going to do that for you. You're going to save all that time, energy, and stress.
Even if it's just a once-off appointment where you just get some guidance of like directions of where you need to look, or you know what you should be looking for, things like that. Like, yeah, so much easier than just trying to do it yourself. Use those resources out there, people. Do you have any other?
Oh, probably. Maybe I should have written some notes.
Nah, it's good.
Oh, if you have any requests of what you'd like us to talk about,
yes,
just put it in the comments.
Yes, please do that. Please follow us on Instagram, Facebook, and YouTube. So if you like listening to the podcast on the go, try YouTube out. Works a little bit better than the Facebook one, that's all.
Yeah.
So test it out on YouTube. We're on all platforms as well. Okay.
Cool.
Thanks so much for listening, guys.
Thanks for the chat, Sarah.
Oh, thank you.
Great. Good fun.
Yeah, I always love it. And we'll keep it up in the new year. That's another goal.
Yes.
Keep the podcast going.
Yes.
All right, sounds awesome. Okay, thank you, guys.
Bye.
Bye.